Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brianna. This is Coffee, Books, and Bullet Journals. Today I have a really big unhaul for you. One of my goals for 2021 was to unhaul a bunch of books, either books that I had read and I didn't love, or books that I just knew I wasn't going to get to. All of this. That turned into over 100 books. We have some problematic authors in here. We have some just books that I'm not gonna read again. Like, some of these were not bad books. I feel like I probably have 3, 4, maybe even a 5-star read in here, but it's like a YA contemporary or a thriller, and I'm just not going to read those again. I mean, there are also some objectively bad books in here too, but you know, that the majority of these are just books I'm not going to read, and so I'm going to get rid of them. I don't have limited bookshelf space because I have all of these that are around me, and then I also have a built-in bookshelf that's down in my basement that are books that I still want to read, or books that I have read that I want to keep for recommendation videos or whatever. But I don't use them every single day, or I don't want to display them, so they're down there. But I also don't want to collect books that I'm either not ever going to pick up, or B, not if they were just mediocre books, I don't need to keep them. So I'm gonna get rid of them. I will have my Depop link down below. If you are interested, all of these books are going to be up there. So if you want them, they're down there, and we'll work out something. I don't really know how Depop works. We're still working through this, but yeah. I'm going to have timestamps below for the genres. Now, these might not be the right genres, especially if they're ones that I haven't read. I might be wrong, but I'm trying to separate them between YA and adult, and then, I think I've got, historical, science fiction, contemporary, thriller, fantasy, nonfiction, and then a few middle grades. So, without further ado, let's just get started. Let's start with my middle grades, because those are not broken up into subcategories. So we have Wish by Barbara O'Connor. I read this last year. I think I gave it 3 stars. It was fine for a middle grade, but I just don't think that it did everything it could have. We have Saving Lucas Biggs by Marissa de los Santos and David Teague. I might be saying her name wrong. I'm sorry. I read this last year for Vault-a-thon. Didn't love it. I can see how it would work for a very young age group, but this is the book that tried to do what it was trying to do, but did not succeed. Also, there are 100 books here, so I'm not doing synopsis. Most of them I don't even know synopsis of, but I'm definitely not doing them. I'm just going to talk about them for a few seconds. I have The One and Only Ivan by Catherine Applegate. I read this last year, gave it 3 stars. It was fine. It was cute, but it's just not something I'm going to reread. Plus, I think Hoopla has the audiobook. I have George by Alex Gino. I read this for Banned Books Week and gave it 3 stars. It was fine. Hoopla has it on audio. And then I have Stargirl by Jerry Spinelli. I think I was supposed to read this for a project and then didn't, and now I don't have any desire to. Okay, those are my middle grade books. Now I'm going to do fantasy. I don't have a lot. I'm just kind of working my way through, but I don't have a ton of fantasy. I do have paperback versions of The Hunger Games, the whole series, because I have a hardcover edition of them, so I'm getting rid of my paperbacks. Although I think I'm sending these to a friend, so these may not be on Depop, but feel free to look. Okay, I have Wicked Saints by Emily A. Duncan. I tried to read this. I think the bookmark is still sitting at page 129. And I was trying to read this before Ruthless Gods came out, and I just couldn't get behind the writing style. It's just not for me. I just wasn't enjoying it, so I'm just gonna put it up. I have White Cat by Holly Black. I think I found this at a thrift store, and I was like, oh, it's Holly Black. I know who that author is. This is like early booktube days, and then just never read it, so I have no desire to now. And then this one, Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer, made my worst books of the year. Kind of upset that I paid full price for it, but that's fine. It's annotated through like the first half, and then I listened to audiobook for the rest of it because I couldn't get through this book. But I wanted to because I was doing like an actual vlog, and I kind of had to. Anyway, those are my fantasy ones. Quickly, I will go through the nonfiction. They're mostly like self-help books, if I'm being 100% honest. So I have The 1 Minute Manager by Ken Blanchard. I'm pretty sure my office has this book, so like if I ever actually wanted to read it, I could. But this scares me because I remember reading it in high school, and I had a very conservative, very anti-socialist teacher that like, I'm pretty sure in my civics class we were taught like socialism is bad, very, very bad. I still remember that. Like we had to quote that. Like, oh, the whitewashing propaganda. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So anyway, I'm just scared to like pick this up again because I'm afraid that it's like probably some sort of fascist propaganda, and I don't want to look at it. I have Leading the Starbucks Way, 5 Principles for Connecting with Your Customers, Your Products, and Your People. I don't need this anymore because I'm not working specifically like with customers anymore. This is not I don't need this. Like, it worked for the time when I bought it in 2015. And then I also have the Starbucks Experience, 5 Principles for Turning Ordinary into Extraordinary. And I got that and this, which is Onward by Howard Schultz, when I worked for Starbucks. That one's probably not going to get sold though, because there's this got some damage. But anyway, yeah, I did read this. This was actually really good. I never read this though. Onward was more about the like history of Starbucks, which is actually really interesting. And then this is about like I got this at like a library sale, and that's Big Box Swindle by Stacey Mitchell, The True Cost of Mega Retailer and Their Fight for America's Independent Businesses. This actually sounds really interesting, and it's all about like the big box stores taking over like the small mom and pop stores. Sounds interesting. I just don't I don't really want to sit down and read 500 pages of it. So if I wanted to, I could find the audiobook. Okay. And then this stack over here, we're just going to talk about like real quick. I'm getting rid of all these because I have I don't need them. Like, this is a lot of shelf space, and my nostalgia doesn't need it. All those were purchased secondhand at a thrift shop, so I didn't pay any money. She didn't get any money for that. But anyway, moving on to thrillers, we'll start with YA. Honestly, have I even read any of these? Yeah, I have. Okay. Luckiest Girl Alive by Jessica Knoll. I haven't read this one, and I bought it, and it sounded super interesting, like early booktube days, but then I found a couple of reviews by people that I really trust that said that I had really bad mental health rep, and I'm not here for that on this channel. Like, my channel is specifically about mental health. Well, not specifically, but like I talk a lot about it, so I'm not gonna go there. The End of Everything by Megan Abbott. I read another book by Megan Abbott, one of the first books I read on BookTube, and I was like, oh, this sounds really, like, I really liked that one, so I must like everything that she had. And so this was like a super early book outlet haul. Maybe my first. I think my entire first book outlet haul is in this thing. Like, anything that wasn't already gone. Anyway, that's what this is. I have no idea what it is, but I wasn't going to read it. I don't like YA thrillers. I just don't. I think this is the end of my YA thrillers. I don't think I have any still. I have Rooms by Lauren Oliver. I read this as a buddy read with a bunch of friends, pre-booktube days even, and hated this book so much. So bad. It was some paranormal ghost story, and the main character is just awful. Just awful. He's the worst. Being in his head is not fun. And then I got A Blue So Dark by Holly Schindler, and this I'm sure was probably also a book outlet haul or something. I don't know. There's dust on it, so that tells you how often I picked it up, which is never. Okay, adult thriller titles. I have Behind Your Eyes by Sarah Pembroke. I remember Books and Lala really loving this book, and so I was like, oh, I'm gonna try it. I think I'll like it. And then I read her other book last year. What was it? I don't know. It had like a face with like sunglasses on it. I don't remember. And that one was like so god awful that I was just like, I'm done. I don't even want to know anything else the author has. Okay, we have the problematic queen herself in Robert Galbraith, aka J.K. Rowling. I have the first 3 here. Never ended up reading them. Never ended up reading them. I think I started reading this one and I was like so bored that I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. So yeah. We have Miracle Creek by Angie Kim. I read this last year. I gave it 3 stars. It was fine, but it wasn't anything like phenomenal, and it's not something that I'm going to reread. We have Watching You by Lisa Jewell. This was a group book for the Literary Alliance, I think in 2019, and I never ended up unhauling it. I don't think I like really unhauled anything in 2020 because of like COVID. So now we're doing it. This is like still tabbed with the groups, like the days that we were supposed to read it. I got like 100 pages into it and I was so bored. And then I saw some reviews that also said the same thing. So I'm just like, okay, I'm done. We have The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. This is fine. I gave it 3.5 stars. I read it last year. Probably won't reread it. And if I do, I have the audiobook for it. We have The Couple Next Door by Sherry Lapina. I think I've tried to read this like 4 times, and I was just like, I'm done with your heterosexual white people problems, and I don't care. So, I realize this video is now sounding like super negative, and I do apologize for that, but I also like, I need to cleanse my space, and it's not that I'm like hating on most of these books. I'm just trying to like cool down the mountain, I guess. Anyways, I have Red Sparrow by Jason Matthews. This is a political thriller about like a CIA agent, like a double agent, I guess. And this was interesting, but like the movie was better, in my opinion. I read it like very early booktube days. And like political thrillers are just not the thing I gravitate towards anymore. Like, political stuff is interesting, but like not in a like, I mean, if we're talking about the actual politics, sure, but like CIA, like spy type books, not what I gravitate towards. And then I have a couple of Karen Slaughter books. So I read Pretty Girls a couple of years ago, and like I didn't get the hype. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, this is the scariest book I've ever read, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I mean, not really. So, maybe, but not really. So I just know that I don't know. I don't think she's the author for me. And I had The Good Daughter as well, and it's just not, like, it's not a book that I'm gravitating towards. And Hoopla has this on audio, which is how I would read it anyways. And then the last author that I'm not done with, because I am keeping a couple of her books that I still haven't read yet, but these books that I have read that I just don't care about anymore. The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. The Death of Mrs. Westaway by Ruth Ware. I just don't think, I mean, she's not the author for me anymore. I think I still have In a Dark, Dark Wood. Maybe. That like I'm going to hang on to for a bit. I don't know if I don't think I have The Lion Game. So, we'll see. I'm just like, I don't know. Her books just, the endings annoy me. That's all I'm going to say. Let's move on to some contemporary, which is where I'm probably doing the majority of my, like, culling. Because when I first started BookTube, I thought I was a contemporary romance reader. Come to find out, I'm very much an omnivore, and I like a lot of different things. But I thought I was a contemporary romance. So, like, I was picking up any author that I had heard about on BookTube. I was picking up any book I had heard about, and there are just books that I'm not going to read. So, specifically in the YA category. So, we have The Anatomical Shape of a Heart by Jen Bennett. This was somebody that was talked about so much in like 2018, and so I picked up, I think, like maybe her entire collection, and I think I may have a couple that I kept, but it's just like, I'm not gonna pick this up. The Distance Between Us by Casey West. I did pick this up for a project I was going to do last year on reading like booktube darlings, and Casey West is definitely one of those like popular YA contemporary authors, and so I was going to read this. And then like the more I actually tried to do that project, the less I wanted to read these books, and so I just kind of nixed that. We have Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. No idea what this is about, but it was like an author that I had heard of. We have Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. I did read this. I read this very early on in my booktube days. I liked it at the time. If I reread it, though, it would not be the same experience. And I don't necessarily want to put myself through that. So I don't think I would like it upon reread. So I'm just going to let somebody else enjoy it. We have Heartstrings and Other Breakable Things by Jacqueline Firkins. This was fine. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. It's a retelling of Mansfield Park, which is one of my least favorite Jane Austen stories because I don't like the love triangle. So it's definitely not one that I'll reread. I have Birthday by Meredith Russo. This was another book I bought for a project. I did read it, and then that's when Meredith Russo kind of became a problematic author and like said some things, did some things came out about her life. And I don't want to support that, so that's leaving. I have Meant to Be by Lauren Morell. This does not have a synopsis on the back. Like, this is just blurbs from other authors. I have no idea what this book is about. It was on my very first book outlet order, and like when I was a baby booktuber, and I'm sure I thought it sounded amazing, and never picked it up. I have The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants by Anne Brashears. Some of these ones still have to go through a Gugon phase, or will just be donated if I can't get some of this stuff off. So don't worry. Like, I'm not selling books in this condition. I don't need to read this. I have Truly, Madly, Famously by Rebecca Searle. I've come to find out that Rebecca Searle is not the author for me this year. Like, at all. At all. I don't like any of her books. So this is going. I have Nice Try, Jane Sinner by Leanne Oakley. I have tried to read this book 3 times. There is a bookmark in here at page 187. I'm not going to read it. It's just like, this is about a girl who like gets on a Bachelor type show, like not a Bachelor, what is it called? Like Big Brother. Is that what it's called? I don't know. The house where they all live together. But it just like the writing style never stuck with me, and I don't need it on my shelf. And then we have another problematic author in Rainbow Ralph. So I have Fangirl and Eleanor Park. Neither one of these I've even read. So I have like no attachment to this author, but like I don't need to give her airtime. Moving on to the adult contemporary romance. I have a bunch. Like, this is my tallest stack. This one I will just end up getting donated because it's an ARC. But I have Please Send Help by Gabby Dunn and Allison Raskin. I picked this up at BookCon last year, 2019. So not last year, a year and a half ago. I never ended up reading this. I think I read part of it. It's all done in like text messages, and then I feel like one of the authors came out and said some things that were not so great. So, and like I vaguely recognized the name at the time when like it was happening on Twitter, and then I was like, wait, I think I have a book by her. So I kind of put it away at that point. So I don't remember what happened. That's not why I'm getting rid of this book. I'm not gonna read it. It seemed very trivial. You will notice in my, especially in this stack, I am essentially done with cis-het white relationships in general. Unless it's queer or like somehow hard-hitting, I don't need it in my life. If we're just like having 2 stick figure type of people that don't have any problems in their life getting together, I don't care. Cool. Okay. This is more of a lit fic. It's The Rosie Project by Graham Simpson. This is, again, a book that, like, everyone was talking about in 2018, and so I found it on Book Outlet and picked it up and never read it. Because it's not a book that, like, I actually want to read. It's just a book that, you know, everyone was talking about, so I thought I needed. I have Room by Emma Donoghue. I did read this in 2020, and I gave it 3 stars, and it was fine, but, like, it's nothing that's fantastic. And then I have Me and Emma, which I think is some sort of lit fic. I don't know. It's about a child, and I don't know. I have no idea. Literally no clue. Sounded good at the time. I have The Sunflower by Richard Paul Evans. I don't even know how this came into my possession. I'm pretty sure it's kind of more of like a Christian romance, because it's by the author of The Christmas Box. So it's either Christian or Mormon. I don't really know. It says a Simon & Schuster. But, no idea what this is about. It's some sort of like 2 people meeting on a humanitarian mission. And I feel like I got this book after, like, I read my first contemporary romance ever, pre-BookTube. And I had no idea the genre existed. And then, like, this was sitting next to it at Barnes & Noble. So I'm like, okay, let's just pick something else up. I don't know. I question my life choices sometimes. I have Remember Me by Sophie Kinsella. Again, an author that just, like, sounded familiar. Everyone's talking about her. So I found this. I have Something Borrowed by Emily Giffen. Cishet white contemporary romance. Is it similar to isn't there a movie called that? I don't even know. I have Midnight at the Bright Ideas Bookstore. Book Outlet pick because everyone was talking about it. This might be a thriller. I could have had this in the wrong section. Let me know if I'm wrong. Okay. You're gonna question my sanity. Because I am questioning my sanity too, so don't worry. We have Love by the Book by Melissa Pimentel. Cis white het romance. We have Anita Hughes. It's a French Coast. I think I picked this up because, like, the booktubeathon, so, like, way back when, there was a prompt that was like, read a book about a place you want to go, or something like that. And I was like, oh, this sounds interesting. I want to go to France. That's probably why I picked this up. Baby Booktubery. Yeah. Allie Hughes Has Sex Sometimes by Jules Malin. I think this is about, like, a couple that were together, and then he becomes a professor and then starts dating her daughter. Which, like, what? Ew. Like, what? I have Summer in the City by Robin Sisman. Cis white het romance. Like, I have From Barcelona with Love by Elizabeth Adler. This was an author that I had heard about, and so I saw it on Book Outlet and picked it up. I have The Nanny Diaries by Emma McLaughlin and Nicole Krauss. No idea what this is, but I'm pretty sure the movie was better. Size 12 Is Not Fat by Meg Cabot. Again, an author that I had heard about. Saw this book. Sounded interesting. I have Twice in a Blue Moon by Christina Lauren. This made my worst books of 2019. I know some people probably like it, but, like, I didn't. I hated this book so much. I have the first 3. I don't even know how many are in this series in the Me Before You trilogy. This one's in paperback. These 2 are in hardback. This is a book of the month. Because, like, I saw this is, like, my very first box, or one of my very first boxes, and I was like, oh, contemporary romance, that's what I like. And I didn't know this was number 3 in a series. Like, I'm so glad that Book of the Month does not do that anymore. Like, they really don't do sequels, but, like, dear God. What? I have In 5 Years by Rebecca Searle. This is just not the author for me. I have, oh, no, we're not done with our cis white het romance. Whatever Life Throws at You by Julie Cross. I think someone told me this is, like, more of a Christian romance, and, like, if I'm gonna read 500 pages or 400 pages of something, like, there better be some smut. And Christian romances don't have that. Nothing against them. They're just not what I like. And then I have Julie and Julia by Julie Powell. I loved this movie. But I heard a couple of reviews from people that I really trust that this book was just infuriating, so I don't want to subject myself to that. Sorry. Then we have Conditions of Love by Dale M. Kushner. I think this was a book outlet order that I got super early on, and I have no idea what it's about. I think it's a generational family type drama, and I'm just not ever gonna pick it up. And then The Problematic Queen is back with The Casual Vacancy. I don't know what this book is, but I'm not gonna keep it. I lied. We have more YA contemporaries. I don't know why this got lost. We have a couple of books from Emma Mills, First and Then and Foolish Hearts. I am going to keep This Adventure Ends because I feel like that one's a little bit more hard-hitting, but I don't read YA contemporary, so I'm not going to reach for these books. I have Love from A to Z by S.K. Ellie. I did actually really, really love this book, and I think I gave it either 4 or 5 stars. I really liked this one, but it's just not something I'm going to reread. So I have a lot of new books coming in 2021, a lot of them that I'm really excited about, and I need the shelf space. So I'm not going to reread it. I'd rather have somebody else enjoy it. Same with Felix Ever After. I liked this book. This was, I think, 3.5 or 4 stars for me. I read it last year. I just would rather somebody else read it for the first time and enjoy it and be able to get a pretty much brand new book at a pretty discounted price. So I'm going to let somebody else have it. I need the shelf space. I have This Is Where It Ends by Marieke Nijkamp. This made my worst book of 2019, so that's why it's going. And If I Stay by Gail Forman. I read this book a long time ago, but I hate movie tie-in covers, so it's going away. I have Me and Earl and the Dying Girl by Jessie Andrews. This, I feel like Books and Lala talked about, and then I saw it on Book Outlet, and I picked it up. That's the story of this entire haul. I'm finding my reading taste. I have a couple of John Green books. I did keep some of them, but not all of them. These are the ones I don't like so much. An Abundance of Catherine's and Let It Snow. They're just not my favorite. And then I have Everything by Nicola Yoon. The people that have close reading taste to me have given this book 2 stars. And so, I don't want to read it. I know it's a super cute YA, but, I just don't want to read it. And then lastly, I have Everything All at Once by Katrina Leno. I read this 2019, and I gave it 4 stars. It was fine, but it wasn't anything phenomenal. It didn't change my life. Okay, let's move on to some science fiction. Most of this is YA. I do have a few adult ones. Okay. I have Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I'm getting rid of this one because I have 2 copies of it. I pre-ordered it to get the pre-order exclusive, and then I went to a signing, and you had to purchase a book at the signing. And I was going to do it as a giveaway, and then the giveaway fell through, and the winner never messaged me, and so I just kept it. So now I'm gonna get rid of it. I have The Kingdom by Jess Rothenberg. I did read this last year, and it was fine. I think I gave it 4 stars. It was an interesting concept. I'm not going to reread it again. And if I do, I think Scribd has it on audio. This is where you guys are going to probably get mad at me. I'm getting rid of the Lunar Chronicles because I don't care. I have read... Not that one. These are out of order. I have read Cinder and Scarlet. I gave Cinder 3 stars in my early booktube days, and then I gave Scarlet 2 stars this year. And I've realized that Marissa Meyer is just probably not the author for me. But I have the 4 main ones, and then I have Fairest. The only one I don't have is Stars Above. Then I'm getting rid of Renegades because it's in paperback, and I have a hard copy of Arch Enemies and Supernova. And I'm gonna keep the series, but I'm gonna try to find it in hardback, because this is it just doesn't match on my shelf, and I don't want to do that. So I do, however, somehow I found a second copy of Supernova, so I'm gonna get rid of this one too. I don't know why I have 2. I don't know. I don't know if I got one as a gift and then bought one. I don't know, but I have 2 copies, so I'm gonna get rid of it. And then The Second Problematic Queen is back with The Host by Stephanie Meyer. I have no desire to read this book. Okay, and then I have my adult sci-fi. The first one is 1984 by George Orwell. This is on Audible Plus, like it's included if I wanted to try to read it. I did try to read it, actually. I DNF'd it last year, so I don't care. After the Flood by Cassandra Montag, I read this last year and gave it like 2.5 stars. It was fine. Some people love it. Jesse from Bow Ties and Books loves this book, but I didn't. It's very much like a slow like slice of life in a dystopian world. It just didn't have the high stakes that I wanted. We have Upright Woman Wanted by Sarah Gailey. This made my worst books of the year. It's a novella, but that's like, if this would have been a full-length novel, it would have been great. I just don't like novellas, and I don't want to keep it on my shelf. I have Martian by Andy Weir. I have another copy of it here, and I don't like movie tie-in covers, so this is going away. And then lastly, I have Golden State by Ben H. Winters. This is a book of the month book, and I read it in 2019, and it made my worst books of the year, and I hated it so much. So it's going away. Last section, historical fiction, and there's not very much of that because I don't read a whole lot. I honestly don't know if these are YA or adult, so I'm just going to put them all together because I don't know. We have A Most Noble Heir by Susan Ann Mason. I think this is another like Christian Regency romance, and I don't want that. I have The Smell of Other People's Houses by Bonnie Sue Hitchcock. I did read this in 2018, I think, and I enjoyed it, but it's just not something I'm going to reread. And I think Hoopla has the audio even if I wanted to. Then we have another problematic queen in Mackenzie Lee, and that is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. If you don't know what she did, she wrote her name, like she signed her name in other people's books that like cause she works at a bookstore. So that's a thing that happened in like authors of color. So yeah. Then we have The Help by Catherine Stockett. I'm not here for a white savior storyline. That's nothing we need in 2021. I have Circe by Madeline Miller. This one I read in 2019? I think it was. This was a group pick for the Literary Alliance. Yeah, it was Book of the Year in 2018. So I read it in 2019. It was fine. I have the audiobook if I wanted to reread it, but this isn't just like, this is not a book that I absolutely fell in love with. So I don't need to keep it. Plus, it's not the beautiful cover. Like, there is a stunning cover that's like gold foiled and stuff, and that's not it. So if I was gonna buy, if I really wanted it on my shelf, I'd get a better cover. Lastly, we have All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. I read this a couple of years ago. It was good, but it's, again, not something I'm going to reread. I don't love World War II fiction. So, cool. That's 110 books that I'm getting rid of. Editing this should be super fun. It's probably going to be, like, very minimal effort as far as that editing is concerned. Like I said, the Depop link is down below if you want any of these books. Yeah, that's all I got. If you are new here and you have not yet subscribed, there's a little red button that you can do so down below the video, and all of the other links to my social media will be in the description below if you would like to be my friend on any other platform. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye. What makes this heart beat faster?